How to knit the Oyster Pattern Stitch for the loom. For today's tutorial, you will need your knitting loom. Today we are using the Kiss regular gauge knitting loom with no spacers in between the pins and the pegs, your knitting tools, and a ball of yarn. Today we are using Tosh Chunky by Madeline Tosh in the color Fragrant. For this stitch, we will be using the following techniques: knit stitch, purl stitch, double wrap, cluster stitch, and slip stitch. To begin working this stitch, cast on in multiples of 6 plus 7. Row 1. Knit all the way across to the end of the row. Row 2. Knit the first stitch. Then we will begin our repeat by knitting the next 5 stitches, wrapping the yarn around each peg twice. Knit the next stitch. Repeat this until the end of the row. Row 3. Knit the first stitch. Then we will begin our repeat with a cluster 5 stitch. To do a cluster 5 stitch, unwrap the next 5 double wrapped pegs so that only one loop sits on each peg. Slip the first 2 stitches onto the third stitch and the last 2 stitches in the group of 5 onto the third stitch as well. Then we will knit and purl into all 5 stitches at once as follows. Knit 1 into all 5 stitches by using your tool to go up and under all the stitches and looping onto the new stitch, pulling it down and through. Instead of slipping the stitches off the peg, pull out a little extra slack on the new stitch and set it onto the previous peg, leaving the 5 stitches on their peg. Make sure to bring the new stitch back behind the pins if you're using the Kiss loom. Then purl into those 5 stitches by slipping your tool down through the top of the 5 stitches and looping the new stitch up and through. Again, don't remove the 5 stitches from their peg, simply pull out a little extra slack in the new stitch and set it on the previous peg. Knit 1 again through the 5 stitches as before, setting it on the previous stitch. Purl another stitch through all 5 stitches as before, setting it again on the previous peg. Then knit 1 through all 5 stitches again, but this time you can pull off the 5 stitches from the loom. Set the new stitch on the furthest empty peg. Now we will straighten out the stitches by slipping the remaining 4 stitches onto the appropriate pegs. Slip the top stitch onto the 4th peg, the next stitch onto the 3rd peg, and then grab the bottom stitch and slip it back to the 1st peg, setting the 2nd stitch back down on the 2nd peg. Now we will get rid of the extra slack by grabbing the 5 stitches that we knit into from behind the loom and pulling them back slightly. Grab each loop on the 5 pegs we have been working with and pull the extra slack out. Stabilizing the 5 stitches in the back helps to avoid snags as you're pulling out the extra slack. Then knit the next stitch. Repeat this until you've reached the end of the row. Row 4, knit the first stitch. Then we will begin our repeat by purling the next 5 stitches. Knit 1. Repeat this until the end of the row. Row 5, knit all the way across to the end of the row. Row 6, knit the first 4 stitches. Then knit the next 5 stitches, double wrapping each peg as we did on row 2. Then we will begin our repeat by knitting 1, then knitting the next 5 stitches, double wrapping each peg. Repeat this until you reach the last 4 stitches. Knit the last 4 stitches. Row 7, knit the first 4 stitches. Then do a cluster 5 stitch just like we did on row 3. Unwrap the double wrapped pegs and slip the first 2 stitches onto the 3rd stitch and the 4th and 5th stitches onto the 3rd stitch. Then we will need to knit 1 into all 5 stitches, so we will use our tool to go up and under the 5 stitches, looping onto the new stitch and pulling it down and through. Then pull that stitch onto the previous peg, leaving the 5 stitches on the 3rd peg. Then purl into the 5 stitches by using your tool to go down and through the 5 stitches, looping onto the new stitch and pulling it up and through. Set that stitch down on the previous peg without removing the 5 stitches from their peg. Knit 1 and purl 1 again through the 5 stitches, leaving them on the 3rd peg. Then knit 1 through all 5 again, but this time remove the stitches from the peg and set the new stitch down on the 5th peg. Set the stitches from the second peg down onto their appropriate pegs as we did on row 2. Then get rid of the excess slack. Then we will begin our repeat by knitting the next stitch, then do another cluster 5 stitch. Repeat this until you reach the last 4 stitches. Knit the last 4 stitches. Row 8, knit the first 4 stitches. Then purl the next 5 stitches. Then we will begin our repeat by knitting the next stitch and purling the next 5 stitches. Repeat this until you reach the last 4 stitches. Knit the last 4 stitches. Repeat rows 1 through 8 until you've reached your desired length. And that's how you knit the oyster pattern stitch for the loom. Want more loom knitting tutorials? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow our blog at vintagestorehouse.com to get new videos and posts sent right to your inbox. Thanks for watching!